Okay, step one is to get frustrated when you can't find somewhere to put your reference picture. And then we're going to just kind of sketch out where we're going to be putting the eyeballs. I keep looking to the right because that's where my reference picture is sitting. Sorry, I couldn't find anywhere to put it, so it's on the floor. And then I always use white because it's easier to wipe away than to use black paint or just to go straight in. And then I'm going to be covering up my eyebrow. Fast forward through this really quick. You just put some glue on there and comb it up so your brow hairs are flat. And then you just want to make sure there's a pretty good layer on top of your eyebrows to cover up the hairs. You want the makeup to sit on top of it. Kind of defeats the purpose if your hair is still shining through. And then I do go ahead and put some orange concealer over my dark hairs just to try to kind of color correct. Didn't really work that much, but it's the thought that counts. And then we're going to just try to sketch out where we're going to be putting the eyeballs. I do go through with white paint, kind of just make some blobs, but this still kind of helps. You can see where you want the eyeballs to go and whatnot and what shape they're going to be. And as you can see, I do wipe away quite a lot. This one under my eye, this one is freaking difficult because I have what I would say ball sacky eyelids and it's wrinkly under there, and I try to do a pupil and whatnot and I wipe it away. So when you go under your eye, if you have them like I do, just put white there. Don't worry about it. Sometimes it looks gross. Sometimes it works out. I am going in with white paint first just to kind of show where the eyeballs are going to go, and then it wasn't opaque enough. I ran out of my Mayron paint, so I was using kind of a cheap one. So I do go over it with a white concealer. I use the Morphe one. It's okay. It's not the best. It gets the job done. It is thinner, so it does work better. But it's not as super opaque as the Makeup Revolution one, which is the one I was looking for. Couldn't find it, of course. So this works. And then 1,000,005 years later, after we are still here trying to put the white paint on, I finally go in. I mixed a darker blue that came in the Mayron Paradise palette with a lighter green and threw some white in there to kind of get a similar eye color to what I have. It doesn't have to be the same color. I just thought it added a better effect since I was using my own eyeball as kind of a prop there. And then as you can see, I do put the green under my eye. Don't do this. I end up just erasing it and going over with white paint because it does not work under there. It's wrinkly and it just looked terrible. So if you're trying to follow this tutorial, skip this step. Just keep the wipe there. And there isn't really any specific way that I'm putting these irises, whatever, on my face. I just kind of put them where I think I wanted them to show. I do kind of look at the reference picture, but just do whatever you think is best. And then I am going around them with a dark blue eyeshadow. I'm using the one in the Morphe James Charles palette. Just go around the outside and then blend it towards the middle. You want it to be darker and then fade to lighter, if that makes sense. Just look at your eyeball for reference. And then I am taking a white. I'm just kind of lightening the center because that's where the black pupil is going to go. And I really wanted that nice gradient effect so it'd look a little bit more realistic. There it is. Wiping it off. All that work to try to fix it. I sped this up. It took me a while. I probably spent more time than I needed trying to fix that one under my eye. And then I do switch to I think this is an e.l.f. concealer brush to put the white concealer on. Just makes it a little bit more opaque and it doesn't blend as well when I was trying to use my already wet paintbrush. So get a dry paintbrush if you need it to be more opaque. I only kept this part in here so you guys can just see how many layers I put on and whatnot. I could have cropped this out probably, but I'm just going to insert some music so you guys can just see. And then I'm finally going to try to do some pupils. I do use, I think this is an eyeliner brush. It's one of those angled ones. It makes it really easy to do a circle. So you want to go right in the center of the eyeball. Just do little circular motions and create the pupil on all the places that we put these, what are they called? Irises, something like that. Corneas, I don't know, who knows. And this is the part that makes it a little bit more realistic, like shiny, like you're looking at some light. You want to put right onto the pupil just a little circle of white, and then one at the bottom. I don't know why, but this is always what I see when I draw eyes, when I see eyes. Just makes it look way more realistic. I kind of go back and forth when I'm working. Hopefully that's not confusing. Whenever I see that something needs a little bit more, so here I am trying to blend a little bit more shadow, the darker blue onto there. And I don't know what that was. I'm probably listening to music. Here I'm just going to start shading. You want to do it darkest around the... And then here I'm going to start shading. You want to keep it darker toward the edge. And then I'm just taking that white concealer brush that we had. And then I'm just blending it out so it makes it look more realistic, gives it a little bit more depth. How many times can I say realistic in this video? I know this is taking a while. You do want to spend quite a bit of time on this part. This is what gives it depth and makes it look like it's really like popping out of your skin. And then here, I'm just taking that black eyeshadow and trying to sketch out where the eyeballs are going to go. And then just blending it just like we did around the corners. You can kind of see the way that you painted where you want the eyeballs to go. So it's pretty easy to map out, especially if you already laid down that white with a white pencil first. It's kind of muscle memory. You just know where the eyeballs go. And then you just want to keep blending light, dark, light, dark. It's a lot of layers, but it's worth it. Also, excuse my dyed head. I had literally just dyed my hair before I decided to do this, so my scalp is blue. And then here, I'm just adding kind of another eyeball. I thought I was going to draw an eyeball on my lid, but like I said, it's pretty impossible. The struggle is real when you have eyelids like I do. Hooded eyes, where you at? Okay, and then once you get to where you're actually shading the eyeball, if the eyeball looks like it's on top of another one, you want to try to give that one a little bit more detail and shading, especially around the edge, because it looks like, you know, your skin is over the eyeball. So just really blend, push it out, shade it. As you can see what I'm doing here, you just take the little, I think this is a lip brush, but it worked very well with the black eyeshadow. And if it looks like an eyeball is underneath another one, you want to make that one really pretty dark so it looks like there's a shadow from another eyeball on top of it. And then we're just going to be taking some red. I do mess up, but just to show you guys, you can just go back over it with the white paint and it's gone. Make sure it's pretty watered down. You don't want it to be super opaque and so it's showing through too much. Just needs a little bit of detail, you know, like we haven't slept, creepy, I don't know. That phone in the background was my work phone, so priorities. And then here, I'm just trying to fill in the negative space since I decided not to draw on my eyelid. I'm just taking a black paint so that when I open my eye, it kind of blends in with the rest of what we did here. And then I'm just taking some more black paint and darkening up the edge around our eyeballs. And then here, I mixed together some pink, red, and white to get a nice, bright magenta color. And then we're just going to be putting that all over our face and our chest. I do switch to a sponge when we get to our body because the paint just was looking streaky. So I use a sponge, just do a few layers on our body. And then I'm taking the white concealer and putting it anywhere that you would normally highlight your features. So under your eye, on your forehead, your chin, and under your nose. I mean, your Cupid's bow under your nose. What the heck? And then on a very fluffy blending brush, I'm taking a darker purple. This one is in the NYX Ultimate Vivid Brights palette. And then I'm going to use that to give it a little bit more dimension on our eyes. I do use it to contour the nose a little bit. And then this is what I also use to carve out our jaw and our cheekbones. And then I'm just taking some black eyeshadow on a Morphe angled liner brush, I believe that's what this is, and giving ourselves a mediocre brow, nothing special. And then I'm taking that purple eyeshadow again and blending it onto my hairline. I didn't want to paint my hair since I just dyed it and I can't really wash it. So I'm just taking some purple eyeshadow to make it blend better. And this kind of added some dimension too, so that's good. And then I'm taking a highlighter. I believe this one is from the Bretman Rock Babe in Paradise with Morphe palette. It's a nice holographic one. So I'm just going to take that, highlight all of our high points of our face and our collarbones. And then I'm just going to keep shading again. And then I'm just taking some black eyeshadow on a pointed blender brush. And I'm just going to go around where we drew out the eyeballs one more time. Give it more depth and dimension than it had. And then I'm using that same highlighter and I'm taking it onto my lid. I think it just needed a little bit more something there. And then I'm also, I don't know what that was. And then I'm also taking just some paint in the lighter color and I'm lining my lips with it. I do go in with a little bit more red to make our lips look a little bit more darker than the rest of our face. And then I'm taking this glitter liner. This one is Midnight Cowboy from Urban Decay. And I'm giving ourselves a little wing. I think my, whatever this is, needed a little bit more glam, even though you can't see it in the picture that I took. And I do cover it with lashes. That's right, it's still there. We know it's there. And then I'm taking this lip gloss from ColourPop in My Pet. It's the Disney Villains collab that they did. I love this one as a topper. It's like holographic and it goes over pretty much anything, especially these creative looks. Make sure nothing's in your teeth. And then we're going to pop on some lashes. These are the Ardell Faux Mink lashes. And then I'm using the Man Eater from Tarte mascara. And then here is where we add a little bit more texture to the eyeballs. It just looks like they're wet and drippy. There's not really anything to this. You just want to take a pretty thin brush and some white paint. And then kind of just add some lines, dots. You can't really mess this up. It looks wet either way. I do kind of pat the brush onto the eyeballs. It gives it a little bit more texture. And then after you're done making your eyeballs look moist, then we are done. Thank you so much for watching this video, even though it is super long. Sorry. If you like what you see, then subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in my next video.